When 59 children found themselves trapped by a massive wildfire with no way out, every experienced pilot said rescue was impossible. The winds were too fierce, the smoke too thick, the landing zone too small. But Major Erica Thompson, the pilot they all called 2 Green for wildfire operations, saw something the veterans missed. Sometimes the most dangerous missions require someone who hasn't yet learned all the reasons why something can't be done. This is her story. Before we dive into Erica's incredible journey, I'd love to know where you're joining me from today. Drop your city and state in the comments below. It's always amazing to see how far these stories of American courage travel. Now, let's begin. The dust kicked up by Major Erica Thompson's rental car had barely settled when she heard the first comment. Great! Another desk pilot. She grabbed her duffel bag from the trunk and walked toward the cluster of hangars at Riverside Fire Base. The morning sun blazed down on the concrete, and the smell of aviation fuel mixed with smoke from distant fires hung in the air. 3 men in flight suits stood near a red and white air tanker, watching her approach. You Thompson? The tallest one stepped forward. Gray hair, weathered face, arms crossed. I'm Jake Morrison, chief pilot. You're late. Erica checked her watch. 7:58. Her orders said to report at 800 hours. I'm 2 minutes early, sir. Out here, early means 30 minutes before. This isn't the regular Air Force, Major. We don't punch time clocks. The other 2 pilots snickered. One of them, younger with a thick mustache, shook his head. Military. Always think they know better. Erica set down her bag. I'm here to help with cargo operations. Transport supplies, personnel, whatever you need. What we need, Jake said, is someone who understands fire. This isn't some nice safe cargo run to Germany. Out here, conditions change every 5 minutes. Wind shifts, smoke moves, fires jump roads. Your fancy military precision will get people killed. A radio crackled from inside the hangar. A voice cut through static. Riverside Base, we've got a new start near Pine Valley. Requesting immediate retardant drop. Jake turned toward the voice, then back to Erica. See? That's how it works here. No planning meetings, no weather briefings, no checking with headquarters. Fire calls, we go. Think you can handle that kind of flying? I can handle it. We'll see. He walked toward the hangar. Your bird is the C-130 on the far side. Try not to break anything on your first day. The younger pilot with the mustache introduced himself as Rick Santos. Don't take Jake too hard, he said quietly. He's seen too many military transfers wash out. Most of you come in thinking fire is just like combat. It's not. What's the difference? Rick lit a cigarette. In combat, the enemy follows rules. Physics, tactics, human behavior. Fire doesn't follow any rules. It makes its own. Erica found her aircraft parked away from the others. The C-130 looked exactly like the one she'd flown for 8 years, except for the bright orange markings and the modified cargo bay doors. Her crew was already there, checking systems. Sergeant Maria Santos, the loadmaster, saluted. Morning, Major. We're loaded with fire retardant and ready for whatever comes. Any relation to Rick Santos? Erica asked. My uncle. He says you're going to get us killed. Maria grinned. I told him we've been in worse places than California. Technical Sergeant David Kim, the flight engineer, looked up from his checklist. Aircraft's in good shape. Different from what we're used to, but she'll fly. Captain Brad Walsh, her co-pilot, joined them. Just got the weather briefing. Winds are picking up. Gusts to 40 knots in the mountains. That's normal here, Rick Santos called from across the tarmac. Wait till you see 50 knots with downdrafts that'll slam you into the ground. The radio in Jake's hangar crackled again. All aircraft, we've got multiple starts across the region. This is going to be a busy day. Jake appeared in the hangar doorway. Thompson. You're up. Supply run to Meadow Creek Fire Camp. 40 miles northeast. Think you can find it? Erica pulled on her helmet. Yes, sir. It's not sir out here. It's Jake. And Major Thompson? Yes? The landing zone is dirt. 6,000 feet elevation. Mountain winds. If you can't handle it, speak up now. Better to admit it on the ground than figure it out in the air. Erica walked toward her aircraft. I can handle it. 20 minutes later, she was airborne. The C-130 handled differently than she expected. The fire retardant shifted the center of gravity, and the modified cargo doors changed the airflow. But it was still flying, and she'd been flying since she was 22. The landscape below showed the scale of the fire season. Black scars marked old burns. Gray smoke columns rose from active fires. Red retardant lines showed where other aircraft had made drops. Meadow Creek Camp, 2 miles ahead, Brad called out. Erica saw the dirt runway carved into a hillside. It looked short. Very short. Wind socks showed crosswinds from 3 directions. She lined up for approach. The aircraft bounced in mountain turbulence. She corrected, overcorrected, then found the right angle. The landing was harder than she wanted. The dirt runway felt soft under the wheels. But they were down safe, and the ground crew was already running toward them with supply pallets. Not bad for a desk pilot, Maria said over the intercom. As they unloaded supplies, Erica heard 2 of the ground crew talking. New pilot's pretty good. Handled those crosswinds better than most. Give her time. Wait till she faces real fire conditions. Back at Riverside Base that afternoon, Jake was waiting when they parked. How'd it go? He asked. Fine. No problems. Meadow Creek's easy. Kid stuff. He studied her face. Tomorrow might be different. Weather's getting worse. That evening, Erica sat alone in her temporary quarters. Through the window, she could see smoke on the horizon, backlit by the setting sun. Somewhere out there, fires were growing. She pulled out her phone and looked at the photo she always carried. Her father in his Air Force uniform, standing beside his transport plane 30 years ago. He'd died in a training accident when she was 16. Don't let me down, Dad, she whispered. Outside, the wind was picking up. The alarm woke Erica at 4 in the morning. Not the gentle beeping of her phone, but the harsh wail that meant every pilot needed to get moving. Now. She pulled on her flight suit and ran toward the operations building. Other pilots were already there, standing around a large map table. Jake Morrison pointed at red markers scattered across the Sierra Nevada mountains. Overnight, everything changed, he said. Diablo winds hit around midnight. 3 fires merged into one massive complex. It jumped Highway 180 and cut off evacuation routes for half the mountain communities. Erica studied the map. The fire covered an area bigger than some states she'd flown over. How many people are trapped? Asked Rick Santos. We're still getting reports. But there's one situation that's got everyone worried. Jake placed a blue marker deep in the mountains. Camp Wildwood. Summer camp with 59 people. 47 kids, 12 adults. The room went quiet. They're in Pine Canyon, Jake continued. Single access road, and it's blocked by fallen trees and fire. Helicopters can't get in because of downdrafts and smoke. Fixed wing can't land because there's no airstrip. What about the kids? Maria Santos had entered the room with other crew members. How old are they? 8 to 16. Been there since Monday for a week-long outdoor program. The radio on the wall crackled. A woman's voice came through, calm but tight with controlled fear. This is Camp Wildwood calling any aircraft. We can see the fire from here. It's moving toward us from 3 directions. We estimate maybe 4 hours before it reaches the camp buildings. Jake picked up the microphone. Camp Wildwood, this is Riverside Base. We're working on options. What's your current status? All 59 people accounted for. We've moved everyone to the main lodge, which is concrete block construction. But if the fire reaches us... The voice paused. We don't have anywhere else to go. Erica moved closer to the map. Pine Canyon looked like a narrow cut between two ridges. No roads out except the way they came in. No helicopter landing zones big enough for a rescue bird with that many people. Who's running the camp? She asked. Sarah Chen. Former Army medic turned outdoor educator. She knows what she's doing, but she can't fight a wildfire with 59 civilians. The radio crackled again. This time a younger voice, maybe a teenager. Please, somebody help us. The little kids are really scared. Some of them are only 8 years old. Rick Santos lit another cigarette. Weather service says winds are going to hit 60 knots today. No way any of our birds can operate safely in those conditions. What about ground evacuation? Asked Captain Walsh. Jake shook his head. Fire department tried all night. 3 trees across the access road, and flames on both sides. They can't get heavy equipment in to clear it. The radio broke the silence again. Sarah Chen's voice, steady but strained. Riverside Base, we're seeing spot fires starting on our side of the canyon. The main fire is definitely moving toward us. Kids are asking questions I don't know how to answer. Erica felt something cold settle in her stomach. She'd flown rescue missions before, but always to established landing zones with ground support and backup plans. What about the camp itself? She asked. Is there any flat ground? Soccer field, Jake said. Maybe 300 yards long, 100 yards wide. But it's surrounded by trees and power lines. Even if you could get an aircraft in, you'd never get it back out. What kind of surface? Grass. Probably soft from irrigation. He studied her face. Why? What are you thinking? Before Erica could answer, the weather officer entered with a computer printout. Updated forecast isn't good. Winds increasing throughout the day. Gusts to 65 knots by noon. Visibility dropping to near zero in the mountains due to smoke. All civilian aircraft are being grounded in 30 minutes. That includes us, Rick said quietly. Once they ground civilian operations, we can't fly either. Insurance and federal regulations. The radio crackled again. Sarah Chen's voice was tighter now. Riverside Base, I'm looking at the fire through binoculars. It's moving faster than we expected. We might have 3 hours, not 4. Jake stared at the map. There's nothing we can do. No aircraft can safely operate in these conditions. Even if we could get something airborne, there's nowhere to land. What about emergency authorization? Erica asked. For what? A suicide mission. I'm not sending anybody into those mountains in 60-knot winds with zero visibility. That's not rescue, that's just adding to the casualty count. The room felt heavy with the weight of impossible choices. 59 people trapped with no way out, and every pilot in the room knew there was nothing they could do. Sarah Chen's voice came over the radio one more time. Please, anyone listening. We have babies here. The youngest is Emma Rodriguez, she just turned 8 last week. Her parents dropped her off 4 days ago expecting to pick up a happy little girl next Sunday. The silence stretched out. Erica looked around the room at faces that had seen too many disasters, made too many impossible decisions. If this was your kid, she said quietly, what would you want someone to do? Jake met her eyes. I'd want them to be smart enough to know the difference between rescue and suicide. Outside the window, Erica could see smoke building on the horizon like a brown wall climbing toward the sky. The radio stayed silent. Erica spread the topographical map across the table and traced her finger along Pine Canyon. The other pilots had left to prep their aircraft for grounding procedures, but she stayed behind, studying every contour line. Fire Commander Sarah Martinez walked in carrying a fresh weather report. Don't even think about it, she said, seeing Erica hunched over the map. Think about what? Whatever rescue fantasy you're cooking up. I've been fighting fires for 15 years. I know that look. Erica pointed to the blue marker representing Camp Wildwood. The soccer field. It's 300 by 100 yards. That's 1,200 feet long. And surrounded by 60-foot pine trees. Plus power lines on the east side. A C-130 needs 1,100 feet minimum landing distance. Sarah sat down across from her. In perfect conditions. With no wind, good visibility, and a prepared runway. Not a grass field with crosswinds that'll flip you upside down. The aircraft weighs 85,000 pounds empty. That's stable in high winds. It's also too big to maneuver in a mountain canyon. The radio interrupted them. Sarah Chen's voice from Camp Wildwood. Riverside Base, the fire just crested the North Ridge. We're seeing active flames maybe 2 miles away. Wind is blowing burning debris toward us. Sarah Martinez grabbed the microphone. Camp Wildwood, how are the children holding up? They're scared but staying calm. We're keeping them busy with games and activities. But they know something's wrong. The older kids are asking if their parents know where they are. Parents have all been notified. Everyone's working on getting you out of there. What's the plan? Sarah looked at Erica, then back at the radio. We're exploring all options. After the transmission ended, Jake Morrison entered the operations room. Weather Service just updated the forecast again. Winds hitting 70 knots by afternoon. Every aircraft in California is grounded except emergency medical flights. What about military authorization? Erica asked. For what mission? There's nowhere to land. Even if you could somehow get a C-130 into that canyon, you'd never get it out again. You'd just add 4 more casualties to the count. Erica turned back to the map. The landing is possible. Difficult, but possible. Listen to yourself. You've been here 2 days. Rick's been flying these mountains for 12 years. I've been doing this for 20. We know what can and can't be done. Maybe that's the problem. Jake's face darkened. Excuse me? Experience sometimes teaches you all the reasons why something can't be done. Maybe what we need is someone who hasn't learned those lessons yet. Rick Santos walked in, catching the end of the conversation. Are you seriously considering trying to land a C-130 in Pine Canyon? I'm considering options. That's not an option. That's suicide with extra steps. Sarah Martinez pulled up the satellite weather data on her computer. Look at this. Wind shear indicators are off the charts. Downdrafts exceeding 2,000 feet per minute. Visibility less than a quarter mile. The C-130 was designed for exactly these kinds of conditions, Erica said. It was designed for combat, not threading the needle through a burning forest, Jake shot back. The room fell silent except for the hum of radios and computers. Then Sarah Chen's voice cut through again. Riverside Base, we just lost power. Generators running, but we're completely cut off now except for this radio. Erica walked to the window. In the distance, she could see the smoke column rising like a black thunderhead. Somewhere under that smoke, 59 people were running out of time. How long would it take to load 59 people? She asked. Maria Santos, who'd been quietly listening from the doorway, answered. Maybe 10 minutes if everyone moves fast and we strip out unnecessary equipment. The cargo hold isn't configured for passengers, Jake said. We can put in temporary seating. Cargo nets along the walls. It's not comfortable, but it's legal for emergency evacuation. Legal isn't the issue here. Physics is the issue. You cannot land a 130,000-pound aircraft on a grass field in 70-knot winds. Erica turned around. What if it was your daughter up there? Jake's jaw tightened. That's not fair. 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez. Her parents think she's safely making crafts and learning about nature. Instead, she's trapped in a burning canyon because we're too experienced to try something difficult. I'm not too experienced. I'm too smart to commit suicide. And I'm too stubborn to watch children die because the smart choice is to do nothing. Sarah Martinez closed her laptop. Even if you could somehow get authorization, which you can't, even if you could somehow land in those conditions, which you can't, the takeoff would be even more dangerous. You'd be overweight with 59 extra people. C-130s have taken off overweight before. In combat zones with long runways and support crews. Not from a soccer field surrounded by burning trees. The radio crackled again. This time it wasn't Saracen. It was a child's voice, maybe 10 years old. Hello? Is anyone there? This is Tommy from Camp Wildwood. Miss Sarah said someone might be listening. My mom said if I'm ever in trouble, I should ask for help. So I'm asking. Please help us. The transmission ended. Nobody in the room spoke. Erica folded the map and tucked it under her arm. Where's my crew? Don't do this, Jake said quietly. You want to prove you're not too green? Don't get those kids killed trying to be a hero. Some of us know the difference between courage and stupidity. Erica stopped at the door. And some of us know the difference between experience and cowardice. Those children don't have the luxury of your caution. She walked out, leaving Jake staring after her. Outside, the wind was already picking up, rattling the hangar doors and stirring dust across the tarmac. Erica found her crew by the C-130, running through their pre-flight checklist. They looked up when she approached, reading something in her expression. We're going, she said simply. Sergeant Maria Santos nodded. Figured as much when you walked out of that meeting. What's the plan? Pine Canyon. Land on the soccer field, load 59 people, get them out. Technical Sergeant David Kim looked up from his engine inspection. In 70-knot winds? In whatever winds we find. Captain Brad Walsh, her co-pilot, pulled out his flight calculator. Soccer field's 1,200 feet long. We need 1,100 minimum. That's cutting it close. Close is better than impossible. They worked in silence for the next 20 minutes, stripping unnecessary equipment from the cargo hold. Extra fuel pumps, spare parts, maintenance gear. Everything that wasn't essential for flight came out. Maria rigged cargo nets along the walls for temporary seating. Jake Morrison appeared as they were finishing up. Command denied your flight plan, he said. I didn't file a flight plan. You can't just take off without authorization. Erica signed the aircraft logbook. Emergency medical evacuation. Federal Aviation Code allows immediate departure for life-threatening situations. That's for established medical facilities, not soccer fields in the middle of nowhere. 59 people about to die sounds life-threatening to me. Jake stepped closer. This is career suicide. Even if you somehow pull this off, the paperwork alone will ground you permanently. Better than explaining to 59 families why we didn't try. The engines spun up with their familiar whine. Inside the cockpit, Erica ran through her checks one more time. Everything looked normal, but normal weather was already behind them. Tower, Air Tanker 7 requesting immediate departure, Brad called over the radio. Air Tanker 7, be advised all civilian aircraft are grounded due to extreme weather conditions. Tower, we're declaring emergency medical evacuation authority. 59 civilians in imminent danger. A long pause. Then, Air Tanker 7, you're cleared for takeoff. Good luck. The aircraft rolled down the runway heavier than usual with extra fuel and emergency supplies. Erica felt the familiar lift as they climbed away from Riverside Base, but the turbulence hit immediately. The C-130 bucked and rolled like a small plane, not a massive cargo aircraft. Jesus, Brad muttered, fighting to keep his instruments steady. Through the windscreen, Erica could see the wall of smoke ahead. It rose from the ground to 20,000 feet, a brown-black tower that blocked out the sun. Lightning flickered inside it where the heat created its own weather system. Air Tanker 7, this is Riverside Base. Jake's voice over the radio. Turn around. Weather's getting worse, not better. Erica keyed the microphone. Negative, Riverside. We're committed. Don't do this, Thompson. Bring my people back alive. She switched to a different frequency. Camp Wildwood, this is Air Tanker 7. Do you copy? Static. Then Sarah Chen's voice, faint and broken. Air Tanker 7, we copy. Are you really coming? We're en route. 20 minutes out. Have everyone ready to move quickly. The fires may be a mile away now. We can hear trees exploding from the heat. The aircraft plunged into the smoke wall. Visibility dropped to 0 instantly. The world outside turned brown-black, and turbulence threw them around like a toy. David called out readings from his instruments. Engine temps climbing. Ash is getting into the intakes. How bad? Erica asked. Still in the green, but rising fast. Brad struggled with the navigation equipment. GPS is getting interference. All this ionization from the fire is scrambling signals. Dead reckoning then. Compass and timer. The aircraft shook violently as it hit a downdraft. Erica felt her stomach drop as they lost 500 feet in seconds. The altitude alarm buzzed. Climbing back up, she announced, adding power. Through brief breaks in the smoke, she caught glimpses of the landscape below. Everything was either burning or already burned black. No roads visible, no landmarks, just fire and destruction stretching in every direction. There, Maria called from the cargo area. Pine Canyon, 2 o'clock. Erica banked right and saw it. A narrow cut between 2 ridges, with a thin ribbon of green at the bottom. But even as she watched, spot fires were starting on the canyon walls. Camp Wildwood, Air Tanker 7. We have visual on your location. We see you too. Oh my God, you actually came. The soccer field looked impossibly small from the air. 300 yards of green surrounded by tall trees and power lines. Wind socks around the camp showed winds from 3 different directions. Beginning approach, Erica announced. She lined up with the field and started her descent. The aircraft immediately hit severe turbulence as wind poured over the canyon rim. The wings rocked back and forth, and she fought to keep the nose pointed straight. Airspeeds all over the place, Brad called. 40 knots, 60 knots, 30 knots. Wind shear everywhere. At 500 feet, a massive downdraft grabbed the aircraft and slammed it toward the ground. Erica added full power, but the descent continued. 400 feet. 300. Pull up. Brad yelled. Erica hauled back on the controls. The engines screamed at maximum power. 200 feet. 100. Then suddenly they hit an updraft and shot skyward like an elevator. Going around, she announced, climbing away from the field. Air Tanker 7, the fire just jumped the south ridge, Sarah Chen reported. It's in the canyon now. Looking back, Erica could see flames flowing down the canyon walls like orange water. They had minutes, not hours. Second approach, she announced. This time she came in steeper and faster, trying to punch through the worst turbulence. The field rushed toward them. Trees flashed past the wingtips. Power lines disappeared beneath the aircraft. The main landing gear hit hard on the grass field. The aircraft bounced, hit again, then rolled forward on ground softer than any runway. Erica stood on the brakes, feeling the wheels dig into the earth. They stopped with 50 feet to spare before the trees. We're down, she announced. Through the windscreen, she could see people running toward them from the camp buildings. Children and adults, some carrying backpacks, others just running. Behind them, flames climbed the canyon walls, reaching toward the sky like grasping fingers. Engines running, she told David. We're not shutting down. The cargo door was already opening. The cargo door dropped open, and Maria Santos jumped out onto the grass field. The air hit her like a blast furnace, thick with smoke and ash. Behind her, she could hear the engines still running at high idle, ready for immediate takeoff. Everyone stay calm and move quickly, she shouted to the group of people running toward the aircraft. Saracen reached the plane first, a backpack over her shoulders and a clipboard in her hand. 59 people, all accounted for. 12 adults, 47 children ages 8 to 16. Get the youngest ones first, Maria called back. A group of small children appeared, led by teenage counselors. One little girl with pigtails hung back, staring up at the massive aircraft with wide eyes. "It's okay, Emma," said a teenage counselor. "These people came to help us." Emma Rodriguez, the 8-year-old, looked up at Maria. "Is it safe?" "Safer than staying here, sweetheart." Emma pulled a folded paper from her pocket. "I drew this yesterday. It's an airplane. Maybe it knew you were coming." She handed Maria a crayon drawing of a plane with wings spread wide. Maria tucked it into her pocket. "I'll keep it safe for you." Inside the cockpit, Erica watched the loading through her mirrors. The wind was getting stronger, rocking the aircraft even with the engines running. Through the windscreen, she could see flames now visible at the north end of the canyon. "How much time do we have?" Brad asked. "Not enough." David monitored his instruments. "Engine temps are climbing again. All this ash in the air isn't helping." A group of older campers jogged toward the aircraft, some helping younger children with their backpacks. They moved with the kind of organized urgency that comes from good leadership and practice. 40 people loaded, Maria reported over the intercom. 19 to go. Saracen appeared at the cargo door with 4 more children. "These are the last of the little ones," she called to Maria. One boy, maybe 9 years old, stopped at the bottom of the ramp. "What about Mr. Peterson?" "He's still back at the lodge." "Mr. Peterson is coming with the last group," Sarah assured him. But Erica could see in the woman's face that something was wrong. Sarah climbed into the cargo hold and made her way to the cockpit. "We have a problem," she said quietly. One of our counselors, Jim Peterson, stayed behind to make sure all the buildings were secure. He's not responding to his radio." "Where is he?" "Main lodge, probably. But that's 200 yards through smoke. I can't see the building from here anymore." Erica looked through her side window. The lodge was invisible in the thickening smoke, and spot fires were starting in the grass between the aircraft and the buildings. 55 loaded, Maria reported. 4 people still missing. 3 teenage counselors ran toward the aircraft together, coughing and covering their faces with wet towels. They climbed aboard quickly. 58 loaded. 1 missing. Saracen grabbed a wet towel from her backpack. "I'm going back for Jim." "Negative," Erica said. "Too dangerous. He's my responsibility." Before anyone could stop her, Sarah jumped out of the aircraft and ran back toward the camp through the smoke. Erica watched her disappear into the gray haze. "Engines are overheating," David announced. "We need to get airborne soon or we'll have bigger problems." The wind suddenly shifted, and smoke poured across the field like a gray river. Erica could barely see 50 feet in any direction. The aircraft rocked violently in a wind gust that had to be close to 70 knots. "Can we take off in this?" Brad asked. "We're about to find out." 5 minutes passed. Then 10. David's engine temperature gauges climbed toward the red line. "There," Maria called. 2 people coming." Through the smoke, 2 figures appeared, one supporting the other. Saracen had her arm around a man's shoulders, helping him walk. His shirt was torn and blackened. They reached the aircraft together. Jim Peterson climbed aboard with Sarah's help. He was breathing hard and had a burn on his left arm, but he was moving under his own power. 59 loaded, Maria announced. Closing cargo door. But as the door came up, Erica realized their next problem. The aircraft was designed to carry cargo, not passengers. With 59 extra people aboard, they were at least 5,000 pounds over maximum takeoff weight. "Weight and balance is way off," Brad said, reading his calculations. "We're past maximum gross." "How far past?" "Far enough that we probably can't get airborne." Erica looked at the fuel gauges. They'd loaded extra fuel for the long flight back to Riverside Base. "David, can we dump fuel?" "Some. But not enough to make a significant difference." The field was getting shorter. Wind and heat had dried the grass, and spot fires were starting at the far end where they needed to begin their takeoff roll. They had maybe 800 feet of usable runway left. "Strip everything," Erica announced. "Every piece of equipment that isn't essential for flight comes out." The crew worked frantically, throwing out spare parts, tools, emergency gear, anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. The children watched with wide eyes, not understanding why the adults suddenly seemed so worried. "That's maybe 300 pounds, Maria reported. "Still not enough." Outside, the wind howled across the field. Flames were now visible at both ends of their makeshift runway. Smoke was so thick that Erica couldn't see the trees at the far end. She made her decision. "Everyone hold on. We're taking off overweight." She pushed the throttles forward. All 4 engines roared to maximum power. The aircraft began to roll, slowly at first on the soft grass, then faster as it gained momentum. 50 knots, Brad called. The grass felt soft and uneven under the wheels. Erica could feel the aircraft wallowing, heavy with its human cargo. 70 knots. Still not fast enough. The trees at the end of the field were getting closer, visible now through the smoke as dark shapes against the gray sky. 85 knots. That's rotation speed. Erica pulled back on the controls. The aircraft lifted slightly, then settled back onto the grass. 90 knots. She pulled back again. This time the main gear left the ground, but they were still too heavy. The nose gear dragged through the grass for another 100 feet before finally lifting off. They were airborne, barely. The aircraft climbed at maybe 100 feet per minute, struggling with its overweight condition and the hot, thin air. "Trees," Brad warned. Erica could see the tall pines rushing toward them. She pulled back harder on the controls, willing the aircraft to climb faster. The tops of the trees flashed past just below the landing gear. "We're clear," David announced. Behind them, the soccer field disappeared into smoke and flames. Within minutes, the entire camp was engulfed. In the cargo hold, 59 people sat in stunned silence, processing what had just happened. Emma Rodriguez looked up at the teenager sitting next to her. "Are we really safe now?" The teenager smiled. "Yeah, we're safe." Emma pulled out another piece of paper. "I want to give this to the pilot lady." It was another drawing, this one showing people climbing into an airplane with a woman at the controls. The C-130 struggled to gain altitude with its heavy load of passengers. Erica kept the aircraft in a shallow climb, nursing every bit of performance from the overloaded engines. Below them, Pine Canyon filled with orange flames and black smoke. "Riverside Base, this is Air Tanker 7, she called over the radio. "Air Tanker 7, Riverside Base. Please tell me you're not where I think you are. 59 souls on board, en route to your location." A long pause. Then Jake Morrison's voice, quieter than usual. "Copy that. Medical teams are standing by." In the cargo hold, the children sat quietly along the walls, secured by cargo nets that had been hastily converted to passenger restraints. Some stared out the small windows at the burning landscape below. Others dozed despite the noise and vibration. Emma Rodriguez made her way carefully forward, holding her second drawing. A teenage counselor helped steady her as she walked. "I want to give this to the pilot," she said. Maria Santos took the drawing and looked at it. A woman in uniform stood next to an airplane. Stick figures of children climbed aboard. At the top, in careful block letters, Emma had written "Thank you." "I'll make sure she gets it," Maria promised. 30 minutes later, Riverside Base appeared ahead through the smoke. Erica could see emergency vehicles lined up along the runway. Ambulances, fire trucks, and buses to take the children to safety. The landing was smooth despite the aircraft's weight. As they rolled to a stop, Erica could see crowds of people waiting. Parents, relatives, reporters, and emergency workers. The cargo door opened, and the children began to disembark. Many ran straight into the arms of parents who had driven through the night to reach the base. Others were met by Red Cross volunteers and medical personnel. Sarah Chin was among the last to leave the aircraft. She stopped at the cockpit door and looked in at Erica. "Thank you," she said simply. "There's nothing else to say except thank you." Jim Peterson, his left arm bandaged but otherwise unharmed, shook hands with each crew member. "You risked your lives for people you'd never met. That's something special." As the last passengers left the aircraft, Erica shut down the engines and completed her post-flight checklist. The sudden silence felt strange after hours of engine noise and radio chatter. Jake Morrison was waiting when she climbed out. "That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen," he said. Erica prepared for another argument, but Jake continued. "And also the best flying I've witnessed in 20 years. He extended his hand. "I owe you an apology." "Several apologies, actually. You were protecting your people." "I understand that." "No, I was protecting my own assumptions." "There's a difference." He looked back at the aircraft, then at the families reuniting near the hangar. "I forgot that sometimes the impossible is just difficult, that nobody's tried it yet." Rick Santos walked over, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Media wants to talk to you," he said, offering Erica a cup. "Television news, newspapers, the whole circus." "I just did my job." "Your job was cargo runs to established airfields. This was something else entirely." Through the hangar doors, Erica could see Emma Rodriguez with her parents. The little girl was showing them her drawings and pointing toward the C-130. "She asked if she could meet you," Maria said, appearing beside them. "The kid who made the drawings." Emma approached with her mother and father, suddenly shy around the adults. Her mother nudged her gently. "Go ahead, honey. Say what you wanted to say." Emma looked up at Erica. "My dad says you're a hero." "I'm just a pilot." "My dad's a pilot too. He flies for the airlines. But he said what you did was special." Emma held out the first drawing, the one she'd made the day before the fire. "I want you to keep this. Maybe it will help you save more people." Erica knelt down to Emma's level. "Can I tell you a secret?" Emma nodded. "When I was scared up there, flying through all that smoke, I thought about you and all the other children. That helped me be brave." "Really?" "Really. So you helped save everyone too." Emma's parents shook Erica's hand, and the family moved on to reunite with other camp families. That evening, after the reporters had gone and the families had departed, Erica sat alone in the operations room. The day's events felt surreal, like something that had happened to someone else. Jake entered with an official-looking document. "Federal investigation report," he said. "They'll want to review everything. The takeoff weight violation, the unauthorized flight into restricted airspace, the landing on an unprepared field. How much trouble am I in? Probably none. Hard to prosecute someone for saving 59 lives. But there will be paperwork." He sat down across from her. "You know what the funny thing is? I've been doing this for 2 decades. I know every regulation, every safety procedure, every reason why things can't be done. And in all that time, I never saved 59 people in one day. Experience has its place. So does being green enough to believe in the impossible." Jake stood to leave, then paused. "By the way, nobody's going to call you too green anymore." Word spreads fast in the aviation community. 3 months later, Erica found herself back in the same operations room, but everything had changed. She was now the chief instructor for extreme weather flying techniques. Pilots came from across the country to learn her methods. Jake entered with a new transfer pilot, a young woman fresh from military transport duty. "Erica, meet Lieutenant Sarah Kim. She's our new C-130 pilot." The young woman looked nervous. "I've heard about what you did here. I'm not sure I can live up to that standard." Erica smiled. "When I first got here, they called me too green for this kind of flying. Turned out being green just meant I hadn't learned all the reasons why things couldn't be done. She walked to the window and looked out at the aircraft lined up on the tarmac. The secret isn't being fearless. It's being more afraid of not trying than you are of failing. Outside, the California sun blazed down on runways that had seen impossible things become routine, one flight at a time. If this story of courage and determination inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of American heroism. What would you have done in Erica's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing from this amazing community of patriots and aviation enthusiasts.